8 years, and it's probably one of the most extended compendium on Ukrainian music in the English version.
Thank you
so much for coming.
Thank you.
I would like to start with a very hard notion that culture and art and music and academia, including all levels of education, are intertwined and form a significant component of national identity. Unfortunately, all these elements have been damaged and, to some extent, destroyed. In addition to an extreme human tragedy and the physical devastation, as far as I remember, several thousand educational facilities been damaged, and 489 up to date been completely destroyed. We are watching basically in real time the attempt to destroy the nation's culture and academic life as well. We know that 1,000 institutions been damaged, but it's not only the physical ground or facilities. I think that, that I woke up today and I thought about academia is not as an institution only. It's like a garden, botanical garden. It takes from seed to grow the plant, to trim, to enhance, to be afraid of the frost, of the hurricane, of the plague. And it takes a generation to raise this beautiful garden. And as I mentioned, it takes only one hurricane, or one blow, or one kind of impact that it can be destroyed. I feel that the same can happen to academia in Ukraine, because a lot of lineage from the one individual, one scholar who built the whole school. And when this school is missing, when this individual is missing from the picture, from the ground, it's a tremendous impact on the whole generation, or generations. For centuries, art, music, and culture and education was part of Europe, or European tradition. This connection being often tempered or deviated by the imperial powers or any other powers that happen to be in Ukraine. I have this slide of the Kiev Mohyla Academy. As far as I remember, 1615, this place been established as a very grounded, very solid institution of research and development of the values of spirit and human decency. And actually, it is one of the reasons why I'm here in Pittsburgh. When I met a rector of this academy, which has been reopened after, he told me, no, Taras, we just want to open a department of ethnomusicology and cultural anthropology. But ethnomusicology as a discipline had been exist in Ukraine. It was a folklorism, but not ethnomusicology. Just going to find a way to get a PhD. And I found a way to get a PhD. In a couple of years, I moved back to Ukraine. And this year, 1999, the government cut all funds for this institution. It is one of the most prestigious institutions now in Ukraine, private institution. And after a while, being almost kind of devastated, I moved back to Pittsburgh, and this is my 25th year. And I'm very grateful that, on one hand, I was able to do something with my own work, and at the same time to help Ukraine. Is there a clicker? Oh, there's a clicker here. Okay. As I mentioned that the connection between Ukraine and West was established since millennium. And I just want you to look at these three faces. Face on the left, quite known. His name is Joseph Haydn, famous composer from classical period, the founder, Papa Haydn, they called him. Next gentleman, Wolfgang Mozart. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Everybody knows and keep going. And the man on the right, his name is Bortniansky. Raise please a hand who heard name Bortniansky? 1, 2, 3. Ukrainians? No, stop. His name was almost unknown when I was young, when I was a student. His name was absolutely unknown. And reason is he was born and raised in Ukraine, in school of Lukhiv, and after that he moved to St. Petersburg, to Court Capella, and after that he moved to Italy, and he spent 9 years in Italy, being extremely successful. He staged operas. So his name almost unknown in Ukraine because most of his music been vanished, instrumental music. And I'm going to play for you only a small piece that been found by my friend in Paris Academy of Music many years ago, and he moved by parts altogether. So this is why this piece basically has no dynamics, has no phrasing, has
just
nothing.
one aside.
And
You wanted to talk about.
connections, west and east, west and in Ukraine, also happened to this man. This man is son of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. His name is Hans Sever Mozart. And he worked for more than 20 years in city of Lviv, which is in the western part of Ukraine. Very few people knows about this, that he basically founder of Lviv Academy of Music. So my point is, this connection exists since 14th century, basically, from 15th century. And I'm not going just to tell you this, I'm going to play this piece and you will see, you will feel how this music from Bortniansky, very similar to Haydn and Mozart. It was a present to me today. At 9 o'clock, we turned on the radio and this piece been played on the WQED. First part and second part and third part. Somebody played it. No, it's okay. But I just want to show you only one last part because if you want to hear the whole piece, WQED on the web. really nice, bright piece. And I just intentionally want to start with this music because we're going to talk about the most tragic moment that happened in my life. Because every day I'm calling my friends and my relatives, and the first question is not how are you doing, implying are you alive, still no bombing. Also, I'm not asking, but how's my nephew, who from day one on the front line and still been twice wounded in the hospital, and they sent him back, and he's 42 years old, engineer in steel mill. And this is my life for a year plus. And when I've been told that by my friends that we can play in opera house because we can only have 260 people in the audience in the big opera piece. I said, why? Because bomb shelter has only 250 seats. So this kind of cloud that constantly present. Even though I'm playing this piece, I've been thinking about something like this. It's quite a challenging time for all of us. And I'm very grateful for you come here and support and think about this. Because it's a long war and a long tragedy that as a human we have to help to overcome. On this note, Bratnyansky, da. Who is next? She said me. We have a great privilege to hear a wonderful musician, singer, artist, painter, bandura player, Lesya Verba from Odessa. Odessa is an extremely special place in Ukraine. It's multicultural. It's very beautiful, like you. And now we're going to hear this music.
Thank you. I want to introduce you today with my instrument. It's bandura, and I call she. She has old roots from Greece and Italy. She has a she has 56 strings, and it's a continuation of my soul and my sound in this world. And the first song, it will be old Cossack ballad dedicated to all those who didn't return from this horrible war. Because fighting and bombing is going on even at this moment. And I want to thank you for supporting my countries and its talents. These microphones, please check the sound. Now this instrument is also moody like all Ukrainian women. And I need to tune every concert and every my performance. I check.
Білим тілом зволочена, шейк повію сполошена. Гей, гей, шейк кров'ю сполошена. Вітер є по долині, вітер є по долині, лежить козак на могилі. Гей, гей, лежить козак на могилі. Ані тата, ані мами, гей, ані тата, ані мами, ані труни, ані ями. Гей, гей, ані труни, ані ями. Летиться ворон з чужих сторон, гей, летить ворон, усідає, йому чи випиває. Гей, гей, йому чи випиває. Чорна ріля і зоряна, гей, чорна ріля і зоряна, ще й кулями засіяна. Гей, гей, ще й кулями засіяна.
Well, thanks a lot. The next song about bandura player. The first time they were blind musicians, and they told the story of Ukraine, some fightings, and it's about I will take my bandura and play something about eyes of musician, about some love story. It's old traditional Ukrainian song. And if we have Ukrainian people, we could sing it together. Please help me.
Взяв би я бандуру, та й заграв, що знав. Через ту бандуру Крим за горами, де сонечко сяє, там моя Маруся жалю замирає, там моя Маруся жалю замирає. Взяв би я бандуру, та й заграв час знав, через ту бандуру бандуристом став, через ту
Thank you. It was short version, because it had a lot of versions. And next song is about some love story, about Kozak, about like he's going on to the military campaign and his girl asked him to take her with him. So, and
Козак одіжає, дівчинонька плаче, увійдеш, козаче. Козаче, соколю, візьми мене із собою на Вкраїну далеку. Козаче, соколю, візьми мене із собою на Вкраїну далеку. Дівчинонька мила, що будеш робити на Вкраїні далекій? Буду шити, прясти, зеленого жита жати на Вкраїні далекій. Буду шити, прясти, зеленого жита жати на Вкраїні далекій. Дівчинонька мила, що будеш ти їсти на Вкраїні далекій? Сухарі з водою, аби серце не з тобою на Вкраїні далекій. Сухарі
much later. Thank you very much. You heard ballads, Cossack songs, historical songs. And I can tell you that half of my knowledge about Ukrainian history came from these songs, from multiple lyrics. When the culture was prohibited, language basically erased, eradicated, printed word vanished. What is left? Left oral tradition, like we know in many other countries. So oral tradition through music, through art, and through poetry, in a way, propel the whole nation, propel the whole history. So please be patient for those who don't understand Ukrainian with all these lyrics just going on. It's like a whole kind of, I would say, embodiment of the culture in these lyrics and knowledge of the facts of history. And one of the first composers who brought these elements of bandura and other folk aspects in the classical music was Mykola Lysenko, this book that you have here. He was a founder of Ukrainian music, even though he'd been taught in Leipzig, and he came back to Kiev. He worked all his life on one cause, to write in Ukraine, for Ukrainians, and using elements of Ukrainian music. 20 volumes been published of his music, fraction known. And unfortunately, more than 20 more volumes in a manuscript, still in the form of manuscripts. So we can have 40 volumes of one composer. And he is a founder of the first Ukrainian school, private school, music, drama, and folk tradition in Kyiv. And how he opened the school, he been raised money for his 55th anniversary to buy his house finally, because he always rented, like some of us. And instead of this, he put all this money to open the school. And very few people in the world knows that for 3 years he wasn't able to open the school, because in the articles, article number 5, that he insists that he would accept Jewish students in his school. And in this case, they would be able to live in the city of Kyiv. And for 3 years, a sender in St. Petersburg, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and he held the opening of the school until they finally gave him this permission. I'm going to play a small piece. It's called Elegy. Elegy by Lysenko. You know, only few small layer of the society, intellectuals, can bring the nation up. The same happened in Ukraine. It's only, I would say, 12 families of writers, poets, musicians who sustain Ukraine for a long period of time. Listen to one of them. But Lesa Ukrainka and many other poets around her was an extremely vital force of development of Ukrainian culture. This is only one slide. I have 6 more. It's degrees of prohibition. Language, institutions, teaching. By the way, 1763, a decree of Catherine II banning teaching in Ukrainian at the Kyiv-Mohyla Academy. And we're going on and on and on and on. In 1864, 1862, 1865, complete ban of Ukrainian printed word, language, school, and drama. Lysenko actually printed his music in Leipzig and smuggled through Western Ukraine to Kyiv. So all his music that we know now is basically printed in Leipzig at some point. We're going to bring you a different facet of experience. Not only music, not only voice, but also poetry. And one of the most prominent writer and poet in Ukraine, Lesa Ukrainka, is going to be presented by Carolina and Sebastian.
One, two, three. Супер. Без надії сподіваюсь. Гейте думи, ви хмари осінні, тож тепера весна золота. Чи то так у жалю, в голосінні проведу молодої літа? Ні, я хочу крізь сльози сміятись, серед лиха співати пісні, без надії таки сподіватись. Жити хочу, геть думи сумні. Я на вбогім сумнім перелозі буду сіять барвисті квітки. Буду сіять квітки на морозі, буду лить на них сльози гіркі. І від сліз тих гарячих розтане та кора льодовая, міцна. Може, квіти зійдуть і настане ще й для мене весела весна. Я на гору круту, крем'яною, буду камінь важкий підіймать, і, несучи вагу ту страшною, буду пісню веселу співать. В довгу темну нічку провидну не столю ні на хвильку очей. Все шукатиму зірку провидну, ясну владарку темних ночей. Так, я буду крізь сльози сміятись, серед лиха співати пісні, без надії таки сподіватись. Гетьте думи, буду жити, геть думи сумні.
So I hope against hope. Thoughts away, you heavy clouds of autumn, for now springtime comes, agleam with gold. Shall thus in grief and wailing for ill fortune all the tale of my young years be told? No, I want to smile through tears and weeping, sing my songs where evil holds its sway. Hopeless, a steadfast hope forever keeping, I want to live, you thoughts of grief away. On poor, sad, fallow land, unused to tilling, I'll sow blossoms brilliant in hue, I'll sow blossoms where the frost lies chilling, I'll pour bitter tears on them as dew. And those burning tears shall melt, dissolving all that mighty crust of ice away. Maybe blossoms will come up unfolding, singing springtime too for me someday. Up the flinty, steep, and craggy mountain, a weighty, ponderous boulder, I shall rise, and bearing this dread burden, a resounding song I'll sing, a song of joyous praise. In the long, dark, ever viewless nighttime, not one instant shall I close my eyes. I'll seek forever the star to guide me, she that reigns bright, mistress of dark skies. Yes, I'll smile indeed through tears and weeping, sing my songs where evil holds its sway. Hopeless, a steadfast hope forever keeping, I shall live, you thoughts of grief away.
Ліна Костенко, Крим. А й правда, крилатим ґрунту не треба. Землі немає, то буде небо. Немає поля, то буде воля. Немає пари, то будуть хмари. В цьому, напевно, правда пташина. А як же людина? А що ж людина? Живе на землі, сама не літає, а крила має, а крила має. Вони ті крила не з пуху пір'я, а з правди, чесноти і довір'я. У кого з вірності у коханні, у кого з вічного поривання, у кого з щирості до роботи, у кого з щедрості до роботи, у кого з пісні або з надії, або з поезії, або з мрії. Людина нібито не літає, а крила має, а крила має.
About dreams. In truth, the winged need no land. Without ground, there'll be the sky. Without fog, there'll be the clouds. Without land, there'll be freedom. In this, perhaps, is their avian truth. And what about humans? They live on land and do not fly. Still, they have wings. They truly do have wings, made instead of quills and fluff, of virtue, truth, and trust. Some have wings of faithful love, some of endless aspiration, some of empathy and action, some of zeal and pride and work, some of poetry and song, of art, hope, dreams, and passion. They do not fly, or so it seems, but they have wings. They do have wings.
We feel privileged to have a talented, multi-talented student from Donetsk. His name is Timur. He's not only a wonderful law student and lawyer, accomplished by himself, but he also a singer. And he's going to play with Dr. Gelbi. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. So, piece by Lysenko, after Lysenko, Moonlit Night.
Well, I'm not sure I need mic.
Яка місячна зоряна ясная, видно, хоч волки збирай. Вийди, коханая, працею зморена, хоч на хвилиночку в гай. Почти тут під калиною, і над панами спиться чи спить. На струмки та високі осичені листя безсливо тремтить. Небо незміряне, всипане зорями, що то за Божа краса. Перлими ясними попід тополями кроє краплиста роса. Ти не лякайся, що ніженькі босі хочеш холодну росу. Я тебе вірна, я аж до хатиноньки сам на руках однесу. Ти не лякайся, що змерзнеш, левіронька, не поне вітру, ні хмар. Я пригорну тебе до свого серденька, опалки, як жар. Я пригорну тебе до свого серденька, а опалки, як жар. Дивлюсь я на небо та йду, гадаю, чому я не сокіл, чому не літаю, чому ж мені, Боже, ти крилець не дав, я б землю покинув і в небо злітав. Далеко за хмари, подалі від світу, шукать собі долі на горе привіту, і ласки у сонця у зірок прохать, і в світі їх яснім себе покажуть. Що змалку кажусь я не люби, я наймит у неї, хлопцюга прибудний, чужий я у долі, чужий у людей, хіба що дорогає нерідних дітей.
small comment, small remark. The first song that been sung in outer space, this one, been sung by a Ukrainian cosmonaut, the second one after Gagarin. And when he walked from the station, he saw this enormous universe. He saw this song. It was such a thing.
Thank you. I just wanted to welcome everybody. My name is Adriana Helbig. I'm the chair of the music department. And usually this hall is filled with 150 students that are enrolled in Introduction to World Music. So while the bandura may be new to you, there are thousands of students that have now learned about the bandura, about Ukrainian music in this very hall. And I just wanted to thank my colleagues who continue to support us. And I see the former chair, Matthew Rosenblum, in the back there sitting. And I just wanted to really ask for a round of applause for him, because if it wasn't for him, he would never have hired me. And I just wanted to, again, acknowledge that this is a process.
If not Matthew Rosenblum, probably I wouldn't be here, because he was my advisor on my PhD dissertation. And he was so kind, so generous, and so elegant as a scholar and as a composer, and a very good friend. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you. I know that in 1 hour of our concert, it's almost impossible to fit about the culture, but I'm going to take small piece by another composer whose name is Revutsky. And the reason is, first of all, he was a student of Lysenko. He came from the same school, so in the same arch. So if Lysenko wouldn't happen to be a wonderful composer and a founder of the school, hundreds of other composers and scholars wouldn't be on the scene. Last Friday we were in a symphony, by the way, and it was a wonderful symphony by Shostakovich, 10th Symphony. And he'd been blamed by Stalin and his clique in 1934, 36 for being, and he almost stopped writing for 10 years. So he wrote under the table, but he never performed. Lucky for him, he wrote for movie theater, for plays. And this man, Revutsky, who already wrote 6 symphonies before that, he wasn't able to do this. And he was, all his life was quiet. From 1934, 35, never published too much, even though, in my humble opinion, absolutely wonderful composer. And I'm going to play the piece, Opus 19, it's called Song, that he dedicated to his brother who been killed. And he was actually one of the first ethnomusicologists in Ukraine. I'm going to play this piece, that is called Melody. Song. Actually, it's called two melodies, but one is a set of 2, but one is a song.
Lesa?
Yes.
Lesa.
I want to share with you, it's my song and a lyric of Ukrainian poet Mariana Krianovska. She was nominated in Shevchenko Prize at the highest literature prize in Ukraine. And this song called Golden about God in our hearts.
Ти моє золоте, найцінніше зникоме у семи імена, але я не про це. Все, що діється в серці за стінами дому, а тоді у вісні відкриває лице і стаю говорити санскрити, далі в простоті звеселені селена росте. І немає кінця, і немає печалі, лиш знакоме й тихе живе золоте. Хай, хай, золоте, в серці твоєму живе. Хай, хай, золоте, в серці твоєму незбагнене вогні, сокровене у вірі. Я про тебе живу і мовчу, як мовчать ще безтленніші з раю, невигнані звірі. А тоді відпечатується печать і стаю говорити санскрити, далі в простоті звеселені селена росте. І немає кінця, і немає печалі, лиш знакоме й тихе живе золоте. Хай, хай, золоте, в серці твоєму живе. Хай, хай, золоте, в серці твоєму. І стаю говорити санскрити, далі просто ці звеселені вселена росте. І немає життя, і немає печалі, лиш знакоме й тихе живе золоте. Хай, хай, золоте, в серці твоєму живе. Хай, хай, золоте, в серці твоєму. Ти моє золоте, найцінніше зникоме у семи іменах, але я не про це.
Thank you. And I invite my friend with her poems, Alana Borish-Polec and
Karolina, my gratitude to each and everyone from the city of Asylum. Thank you.
thank you.
це не слова. Ми всі німі, солоні, безумовні, степові, морські, широкі і завжди вузькі, повітряні, налякані, сміливі, під пам'яттю уляглися, наче злива і нелегальне щастя мирних снів. Сполучення і напрямок, відсутні з них усіх. Від лютого до іншої країни. Ірпінь, Херсон, Попасна, Тарханкут. Всі імена дементори крадуть. Сховати всіх. Не промовляти вголос назви вулиць. Ти повернулась? Ти повернулась? Живі собі залишились в собі. Стоїм стовпи, не люди. Виноград, можливо, біля втікачів посадять. Хто ми тут, це таємниця. В кімнаті 2 вікна. Я бачила кімнати геть без вікон. Там добре, коли бомби з неба. І там погано, коли бомб нема. Це не слова, здебільшого безсилля. Тріщина, провина, звістка, кістка і щось своє. Петля із часу відрізає місто, де всі свої, де все було твоє.
These are not just words, you see. We're all silent, lost at sea. Salted, boundless, wild and free. Airy, brave, and fearful we can be. Memories lay heavy on our minds, like a storm that's hard to unwind, and illegal happiness that we find in peaceful dreams that we try to bind. Directions and destinations we seek. Days absent, weeks are bleak. Irpin, Kherson, Popasna, Tarkhanput, names the mentors try to root. Have you returned? Have you returned? They remained alive within themselves, standing tall as pillars. Not humans thrive. Perhaps grapevines will grow by the defector's side. Who are we here? It's a secret we confide. 2 windows within the room. I've seen rooms with no windows in their womb. There it's good when bombs fall from the sky, and there it's bad when bombs do not fly by. These aren't just words, but mostly powerlessness. Crack, fault, message bone, we confess. And something of our own. The loop of time slices the city alone, where everything was yours, where everyone was close.
Чи у вашому місті вистачає птахів, то кожного право не помічати їх. Сліпий відчуває сонце без всіляких пташиних слів. Яке ж воно ціле, і куди ж вони сіли, ті кляті птахи? Глухий помічає загублені речі й тіла. Стіна тут була, і вона відпливе. То скільки птахів у вашому місті живе?
Are there enough birds in your town that we may never even look around? The blind still feel the sun above, without the slightest third word, love. Where do they fly? Where do they perch? Those damn birds in every search. The deaf still find lost things and bones. The wall stands firm, yet also groans. Why did we gaze upon that living rib? The wall will vanish, as everything in life will. So how many birds in our city still live?
Як на небі, моя дитина, смолоскипи і горобина. Курка квокче, прийшла година нести щастя під горобину. А в воді глибина і риба, і з води глибина не піде, доки риба з води не вийде, коли сонце останнє зійде. На землі тільки бій до бою. Чим же я тебе заспокою? Тільки рибою і водою, тільки сонцем над головою.
As in the sky, my child, you see, torchbearers and the rowan tree. The hen is clucking, the time is nigh to bring happiness beneath the sky. In the water there is depth and fish, and from the water depth will not vanish until the fish comes out to play. When the last sunset in the day, on earth there is only a battle to fight. What can I offer to make things right? Only with fish and water, dear, only with the sun above so clear.
А коли пощастило з ворогом, вони присіли на довгу дорогу, взяли обличчя один одного в руки і сказали вголос: «Я знаю, хто я. Відрізнятися буду, як любов від страху, як страх від відчаю, як відчай говорить смерті ім'я, як вона дивиться на людину і позіхає. Відстань стане їх розрізати наживо на 3, іноді на 4 сторони країни. Буде важко дихати, важко стояти, важко розуміти, легко вбивати. Неможливо вірити цими шматками без дому і без ціни. Де їх навчили знати, вони не знали. Проте знали і не знати вони не могли. Що їхнє минуле вкладається у валізу, яку не підняти жодному взагалі. Відрізнятися буду, як любов від страху, як страх від відчаю, як відчай говорить смерті ім'я, як вона дивиться на людину і позіхає. Як вам пощастило з ворогом, він нічого про вас не знає.
And when fortune smiled upon the enemy, they sat down on a long road, took each other's faces in their hands, and said out loud, I know who I am. I will be different, like love from fear, like fear from despair. Like despair speaks the name of death as she looks at a person and yawns. Distance will cut them alive on 3, sometimes 4 sides, countries. It will be hard to breathe, hard to stand, hard to understand, easy to kill, impossible to believe in these pieces without a home and without a price. Where they learned to know, they didn't know, yet they knew and they couldn't know that their past is packed in a suitcase which can't be lifted by anyone at all. I will be different, like love from fear, like fear from despair, like despair speaks the name of death as she looks at a person and yawns. How lucky you were with the enemy. He knows nothing about you.
Thank you.
So in this case, I'm going to play a piece by Miroslav Skorik, and there's 2 reasons why I want to play this piece. First of all, he's my friend. Secondly, he's a wonderful composer. Thirdly, only now when I was sitting here, I kind of realized that this connection is so profoundly important today. When he was young, he was 12, his family from Western Ukraine, from Lviv, been exiled to Siberia for life, because his parents belonged to Ukrainian intelligentsia. So he went with his family in 1945 to Siberia, assuming that he's going to stay forever. Luckily, Stalin passed away, and they allowed them to come back to Ukraine. He been educated in Ukraine and Moscow, and he became a wonderful composer. Miroslav Skorik wrote this piece years ago. It's based upon 2 dissonances. And he named this piece Burlesque. He named this piece Burlesque. It's kind of almost like a fun piece. But for me now, it's much more vicious, much more kind of mysteriously, profoundly bad because of this. speak for Ukraine. When the war begins, I approached composer Martin Leonard, who came to New York to listen to this piece, and I told him about my experience, and he started writing this music.
Thank you all. Yes, I was, very excited to have the opportunity to write for Taras Filenko and Jennifer Orchard. When I heard them perform at my stepfather's memorial, and I was so moved that I wanted to write a sonata. And when Russia invaded Ukraine, everything started to crystallize, and for all of us, it became a mission. The first movement is called meets. It's a word that could connote strength. It's the first movement is driven by a repeated motive that propels this section forward. And like the Ukrainian people, the energy and power here feels boundless and deep, and even joyful at times, despite the circumstances. The second movement, frata, or loss, is an adagio movement. It's reflective of the grief of countless lives lost and displaced, homes and cities destroyed, but the spirit of Ukraine is unbroken and unbowed. As we come to the third movement, Vitsich, resistance, the piano triplets surge and swell inexorably as the violin sings its song of undying hope. I want to thank Taras Filenko and Jennifer Orchard for their shepherding this piece into existence. And I also want to thank Elsa Limbach, and whose encouragement was so important, as well as my wife Phyllis, who can't be here today. Thank you.
Give me a second. I'm sorry, something happened with the slides. We were doing really well. Okay, I can get it here. Just give me a second. Get out of this one. One more time. Here we go. All right.
Last piece will be presented by students of law school, but they're going to sing a very special song. If you have one spare minute from my personal story. I was probably 21, and my friend, who was a choir conductor, he brought his students, age 12, chorus from Kyiv to Western Ukraine. My guess it was close to it was 82, 81, 82. And in the mountains, the kids heard this tune. From someone. And they learned this piece with lyrics. And they decided to sing in the concert. It was a small concert in a small village. And when they started singing, I saw tears on the face of the old man. I said, what the heck, what's going on? Why it's so emotional? I didn't know the sense of the song, the image and the importance of the song to people in Western Ukraine. Because they fought with Nazis and with the Soviets on two fronts in 1944, 45, 46, and 55. And most of them been executed, killed, or sent to Siberia with this song. And this song was prohibited. For singing this song, you can get up to 5 years in prison at that time. But because it was like close to 80s, Gorbachev, and they saw this incredible silence after they finished. Like 100 people, not even one clap, because they were so afraid that what happened if they would clap. And I remember just tears. So this song is going to be
Ой, у лузі червона калина похилилася, чогось наша славна Україна зажурилася, а ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо. Марширують наші добровольці у кривавий там, визволяти вітер українців ворожих кайдан, а ми наших братів українців визволимо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо. Не хилися, червона калина, маєш білий світ, не журися, славна Україна, маєш вільний рід, а ми тую червону калину підіймемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо. Гей, у полі ярої пшениці золотистий лан, розпочали сільці гробинці з воронями там, а ми тую червону пшеницю зберемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо. Я вірю, дуже землі вітер, що роки серді, тайно славить по всій Україні січових стрільців, а ми тую стрільською загони режемо, а ми нашу славну Україну гей-гей розвеселимо.
Say something.
Thank you for all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone who put minutes, hours, days, life into this event. Thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. Thank you.